Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to CAV-HQ. We are having a little bit of different format tonight. We're going to kind of free form it a little bit. James is here, but he is going to be the disembodied voice of reason for us all because
That's my job.
he is still painting yellow, as a matter of fact. James CAV-CON Minis version 4.0. So,
Serious.
and I'm still painting terrain. So we are going to just kind of hang out. We're going to BS a little bit. We'll answer your questions, whatever we want to talk about, and you can get to watch me paint on terrain while we're doing it. So that's what we're doing. Because we are 9 days away from CAV-CON. 9 days. So welcome to the show, whoever might be here yet.
And yes, Ilmer and I'm holding a yellow miniature as we speak. Man, couch lounging and doing nothing. That sounds fantastic.
I remember those days.
Seriously. Every once in a while I will squeeze in one of those days, but man, they are few and far between.
I tried to do I think kind of a half one on Saturday, actually last week.
Yeah. Nice.
And I wanted to go all day, but I just couldn't do it. It just was eating me up.
Yeah, I feel guilty.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go work. There's stuff that's got to get done.
I saw those, Ilmer, and you're making progress. You're making a lot of progress. I like it. I like it a lot. This weekend I have I'll be done with these yellow guys probably tonight. And then this weekend I've got to jump all over those two CAVBall teams and paint them up in my split red and white, split blue and white schemes. Nothing like, there's nothing like waiting to the last minute.
It wouldn't be a
Oh,
con.
Lord.
How can it not? It's not a convention if you don't wait till the last minute to do everything. That's the way I look at it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'll share you a CAV painting convention story. The very first CAV tournament I ever went to, I believe, was in probably 2018. I discovered CAV in 2017, but I didn't know anything about it. So I bought miniatures and I went to my first tournament in 2018. And I'd painted up a pretty nice looking forest, did what I think was right to them, and I showed up and I got third place in the painting thing, which was really cool, except I tied with the guy for third place, and the guy had painted his army gray the night before. And he and I tied. He literally painted the whole army in one night. So I was like humbled. I was like, wow. But apparently decals are important.
Well, it's not necessarily important. It just changes the scale a little bit on those categories.
Yep, it does.
I thought yours were painted nice.
Well, thank you,
You're
John.
welcome.
It's very revisionist of you.
Well,
considering it's how you were the judge.
But the tournament painting contest there is no judging. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a very set criteria. If you did this, you get this point. If you did this, you get this point. And if you did this, you get this point. And so there, like I said, that way there's really no judging to it. It's just a matter of confirming what your eyes see and go from there.
There were.
I think for a tournament setup that it was good. Exactly, following the Rubik. I mean, that's the way the tournament is set up. And we took that system from Adepticon. That's how Adepticon judges the stuff at their Warhammer tournament.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got that one year from him and was talking to one of the guys that runs it, and I mean, he said we take all the politics, all the favoritism out of it, and that way the guys that know the guys that run it and everything like that can participate, because there's no, it is, if they did this is what they get.
It's an equation. I'm not complaining about it.
No,
I
no, I wasn't
read...
saying that you was. I just wanted to make sure people didn't take it as that we screwed you over.
No, I hadn't actually read the rubric. I just saw a painting contest, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun. I'll paint whatever I want and throw it in the contest." And when the gray, so I painted that red, the Pokeball army. That was the one that I painted that year, with red and white with a bluish black line down the center.
Yeah.
Those guys, I'm still proud of those guys. I think they came out pretty nice.
I am too, and I'm not. I don't want to take anything away from the gray guy, because for a one night paint job for a unit, he did a really good job.
I was amazed.
But yours were better. So
indication, yes, that's it. I can retire. I can tell you what, the yellow guys will not win the painting competition this time. I've seen Ross's stuff. It's pretty sweet.
I'm going to have to retire Ross or something.
He's just freaking good.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all there's to it.
He is that for sure. All right, so there's another piece of train knocked out. Well, sort of knocked. It is what it is. Water, but that's okay, because I have an official CAV-CON paint cup.
What?
So
you're not allowed to have those yet. It's not
know.
CAV-CON.
Well, I have one laying here, and I read off and left all my water things downstairs. So guess what? It gets used. The very first one right here tonight. You get to see it being used. Do I not get just a little bit of privilege?
You do a lot of work
for running the company. Let me get something out of it. Jeez.
All right, John. What's this time?
Tough crowd.
Right. We just want all our swag. That's what we want.
Well, speaking of swag, we're getting closer to being able to put them up. We are still waiting on other people to get stuff here for us. Once again, nobody wants to work on John's schedule that he gave them months ago. It is what it is.
Yeah. Welcome to having children. Wait a minute.
I got that too. When I was talking to him earlier today, I said, "Hey, I can't offer you any kids. I'm all out of those these days, but I can give you a kidney if that will help."
John selling his soul for virtual CAV-CON. Yeah, Ilmarina, when you take your picture, I mean, you know, I think a light box is the right way to do that. Let you control the light, emphasize the parts you want to emphasize, set the mood for the photo.
I also had an artist that's been working on some stuff that was actually due on the 11th, and he got a hold of me on the 10th. Said, "Hey, I need 2 or 3 more days." I said, "That's fine." I said, we're good. So that's now been 5 days. And he wasn't done, so he got cut loose today.
See, I couldn't run a company. I'm too soft-hearted.
Well, if it was one that I've used and worked with, but this is a new guy, and he was good. I mean, I liked what he was doing and stuff, and he was doing some concept work on some characters and stuff like that for me. And so, if we're going to start off the bat and this is the way you're going to go off the very first one, I just need to move on now. Save me a lot more grief down the road.
Yeah, Elmer, that's exactly the way to do it. There's a bunch of tutorials. If if you don't have a lot of experience, YouTube's full of how to take those kind of photographs. But it sounds like you know what you're doing.
Well, especially too, they've got those you can get off of Amazon or whatever, those painting booths that come with all that stuff now, and they've got the ones that they're doing now have the lighting built into them, and you can adjust them to different Kelvin and everything. So I've got me one. I still haven't taken it out of the box. I had one that had separate lights, and it worked really well, but I saw them come out with the ones with the lights built into them, and so I went ahead and got me one of those. I have not done anything with it yet. It's still in the box, leaning up against the wall downstairs from when it got delivered. But from everything that I've seen, and I know a couple of people that have them, they're really good.
Hello, Gimli. Welcome in.
Just kind of having a little BS talking session, talking a little CAV here and there, a little painting. Because guess what? I have still terrain to paint. I'm on target still, but I need to. If I got an hour, I'm sitting around doing something, I might as well be painting. That's the way I look at it.
Sounds like a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I got in my third corp stickers. I haven't got in my T-shirts yet.
You order them at the same time?
Yes.
They must have two different people do their fulfillment or.
Yeah, stickers are probably a different. I mean, I'm sure that website is just an aggregator for other companies,
Yes.
probably. And I'm sure it must be easier to make stickers than it is to make T-shirts, probably.
It's funny. I put that third core logo up for you because you wanted that shirt,
Yeah.
And I was looking today. I think they're like 8 shirts have sold with that. It's like, wow.
Well, that's cool. It's a nice looking logo. See, Third Corp is a story that I'm very interested in the context of the CAV, fluff.
Yes. And that's part of I've been the same way here over the last couple of weeks because working on that stuff and getting into some characters and stuff and things that we've done. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I want to go ahead. Let's do this. Let's work on this a little bit more. And I'm like, oh no, if I do that, then the other stuff ain't going to get done. So same way, I've got a lot of ideas going on in my head that I want to pursue down the road.
It's like me. I'm trying to paint this Malvernus yellow force, and I'm like, all I can think of is like, man, I need to paint my pirate red leg dude, and I have this crazy idea for a rock army, and I want to try painting red with it's a different technique. And all I can think of is other things I want to paint other than the thing I'm painting.
Well, I've been, I've been with everything else going on, and then I'm trying to finish up some writing and stuff for JOR and stuff like that. And I've been kind of, it's not really writer's block. I'm just kind of, and it's hard for me to write. So, but what I started doing on the suggestion of a friend of mine is I started writing a fiction piece and something totally different, new, I haven't done that for a while or whatever. And basically it's a warm-up exercise. So the first thing I do when I'm ready to start writing is I pull out my fiction piece and try to do about 500 words. And that kind of gets gets me in the mood, and then I can switch over to the other stuff, and it's helped a lot here over the last couple of weeks. I've got probably done as much writing in the last 2 weeks as I've done in the last 2 months. So
nice. Is this CAV
yeah,
stuff or
no,
just
it's
your
a
own
CAV
personal
story.
project?
Yeah, it's a CAV story. So I'll be, once it's done and get cleaned up a little bit, I'll put it out there for everybody.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got a new sculptor working on a new set of light, heavy, and powered infantry, in the smaller scale, uh, for us to try out with the dual cast. See how that's going to work. Kind of excited to see those. And what's nice is he's used to working in 6mm, and the stuff that he's done.
Oh, so he's experienced.
Yeah, the stuff he's done in 6mm is awesome. Oh, you get almost double size, so I'm really expecting a lot out of him.
Cool.
He knows how to sculpt small. Because that's the weird thing about it is, when you at this scale, when you're doing digital stuff on the screen, you can't make it look real. You have to really oversize things and do different things and not worry about certain details or whatever, because they'll never last. They'll never show up. And unfortunately, that's what we get with a lot of newer sculptors is they make it look great. I mean, for art or on the screen, it looks awesome. But when that thing gets printed out and put on mold and everything, all that just gets lost. So I had somebody send me an email one time that because with the pictures of the stuff on the store and things like that, of course, you can see a lot closer. And they were complaining over they had thought about getting some of the heavy infantry, and they had looked on them and said that they have no hands. I said, they do have hands. He said, yeah, but there's no fingers, no thumbs, or anything like that. They look like some kind of weird cup or something, upside down cup. And I said, well, that's because you're looking at them so close, blown up on the screen, and they're, whatever size resolution that you're looking at, they look great big. But I said, I promise you, when you get them in hand and have to paint them, A, you'll be happy that there's no fingers, and B, you'll never know because it all just blends together. So he went ahead and ordered some, and he sent me an email. He said, I totally understand now. And that's what's unfortunate, because I see a lot of Facebook with a lot of 3D printers guys out there that have modeled things, and that they have them for you to download the files or whatever. And they're showing their artwork off up close and what it looks like on the screen, and everybody's, oh, these are so cool. And they order them in and, get 6mm for Battletech or something like that, and can't understand why they don't look the same. That was one of the things that we ran into with the new guy that was working on the Warden B. He put a lot of stuff on there that looks great, but Chris had to go in and adjust some things and everything. So I had him use it as his Saturday show a couple of weeks ago. So that I just got a hold of it. I'd already let the sculptor know that it was happening. He was okay with it. And that way he can just download it and watch it and understand why we do what we do. And he got back with me and was very happy with what he saw. hopefully it'll make the next one even better.
So the in the realm of digital sculpting, is there like one standard set of tools so that this fellow from Europe and Chris are conversant with the same software? Or are there different versions and they kind of are tangential to each other? How does that work?
Everybody works in their own software. It's I
Okay.
mean, ideally I don't necessarily want to say the pros all work in ZBrush, but ZBrush is a very expensive program, and you've got a lot of guys that are kind of learning it on the fly. So they use some cheaper software, or they use some freeware or something like that. That just it doesn't it really in the long run makes their job and our job much harder. So it's not as bad with mechanical things, but when you get into some organic shapes and stuff like that, it really can screw things. But at the end of the day, as long as they can get us a good STL file that we can use, we can usually make it work and get around it. They can work in whatever they want to work. But if you're interested in getting into this field, ZBrush is the way to go. I am not very proficient in ZBrush. I use Rhino, which is what was originally the software everybody was using, but they've kind of, but it's very much more set for mechanical stuff. You can do organic, but it's harder to do it in Rhino than it is ZBrush. I did have my best laugh of the year so far this morning.
What was that?
Well, I do a little bit of day trading, stock trading from time to time during the day, and I've got a guy that I listen to that broadcasts live, and so when I'm out there working in the shop or whatever, I'll go over there and turn the TV on with the Xbox and listen to him through the show through the day, just kind of background noise or whatever. But he likes to talk about stocks, and so people will get on there and sending messages and stuff about, hey, go look at this stock, and he'll kind of do kind of a technical analysis of it and kind of give you an idea of his thinking on it or whatever. And so they throw them up, and normally they just put the initials for the whatever the stock exchange handle is, or for or whatever. And so he's going along. So somebody, hey, what is how's Ford look today? It's an F, and then here's this, and ATC, whatever. So he goes through that. Well, and of course I'm just listening to it. I'm about out working. Well, somebody put up and wanted him to do a technical analysis of BUTT. So without even missing a beat, he types that in and is trying to get it to come up on his software, and realizes that somebody has got him to type "but."
Yeah.
And his reaction, and the other people typing stuff and everything, and it was very juvenile, but it was good humor. It was just really funny listening to. I had quite the laugh.
Yeah.
Snuck butt in on him. Got a butt joke out of him. That tells you what kind of year we're already having, if that's the highest end of humor I've seen all year.
Well, different people have different opinions about what's high humor. Everyone needs a good B joke
Well,
every now and then. Is
that's
what
what
Mister.
I thought. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a grade school joke, but it just the way it all went in and the way he reacted, it was just found it very humorous.
Seems good.
You know,
Nothing wrong with a little innocent slapstick style humor.
exactly, Gimli. Everybody needs a good butt joke. Butt jokes are just good jokes.
Until you're the butt of the
Until
joke.
you're the butt of the joke. Yeah. And Gimli Blender is a good program. Lots of people use it. There is crap loads of stuff out there on YouTube and things like that, and it's free, so that's a big plus. Um, it's not the greatest software to sculpt in. It's really. Whoop! Just a second here. My earpiece has to fall out one time for sure.
Right into the paint.
Right into the paint. It was trying to work that way a little bit. Um, it's a really good program for if you're doing scenes. If you're putting stuff for art and stuff in there for that. And it's come a long way. Remember when it originally came out? But especially if you're building stuff to drop into like Unity or something. Good for that. That's one of my wish list for this year is to find somebody that I can work with to get some to come up with some videos, some cut scenes and stuff, some live action, or well, not live action, but animated stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some of that. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, a couple, something like you see at the beginning of a video game, a couple of minutes of CAV fighting and stuff. I think would. There's that. I don't know if you look on YouTube. It's actually you can go to our YouTube channel and got a link, and I don't know. I put it in like a favorites folder or something like that. But back in the day, somebody went in and did a couple of Starhawks running across the battlefield, and a couple of Tosekis, I think, roll in behind them, and then a couple of tanks come in and they're shooting and everything like that. I mean, it hasn't aged well with technology, but it's kind of a cool video.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I've never seen that.
I would play it, and I think legally I can, but it take a chance of pissing her. But if you go to our YouTube channel for Talon Games, it's like a favorites folder or something like that I linked it in there. Are you done yet, James?
I am very close to finishing up the edge highlighting / highlighting on the last razor. And I technically need to do some dry brush and metal dry brushing on the treads of the tanks. and the cockpits, sometimes the colored bits that separate the pieces of the cockpit glass kind of lost a little bit of their yellow, so I have a tiny little bit of that to paint, and then I'll be ready to. I still got to do the bases on the calves, block them, and then I'll be ready to seal them. So,
that's the spirit. Flock them. Don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with these.
Oh, what the flock?
Somebody complains if you try and do other things.
What the flock?
How about have you printed any CAVBoss?
They're actually on the printer right now.
Sweet. I still got to paint those
I
too.
know. Worst case, I'll paint them for you.
Yeah, Gimli, little stop signs. The amount of things I know about school buses would just, it would bore the holy bejesus out of you. Turns out they're quite complicated to make. More so than the things Ford makes, because we have a lot more variation than they do. A lot of more different kinds of school buses than there are Fords.
The piles of hills are nonstop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those guys. I'm Gimli. We ever get a chance to talk offline? Let's. I'm sure we could entertain ourselves with some of the crazy stories.
It is Wednesday, Colonel Kane, but we're having a CAV-CON Wednesday, which means I'm painting on terrain, and James is repainting his minis for the fourth
Yep.
time.
Stripping them tonight so I can start over again tomorrow. It was that purple, right? I just had it in my mind, and I blame Tiger Wraith, that I needed to put some purple in these models. So I spent about 2 weeks painting them kind of white so I could paint the purple and changing my mind. And then I painted them purple, and then I painted over the purple, and it was just Tiger Wraith, I'm gonna kick you in your shins when I see you.
Welcome to the Hotel Yellow Cab.
Yeah, seriously.
You can check in, but you can never.
Could never leave. In some ways, though, it's helped me. Though it's convinced me that when it comes to painting calves, to me are harder to paint than like a 28 millimeter or 32 millimeter wizard would be. They're just the scale means a lot of things I would normally do to a regular miniature this tall. You just can't do, or at least I can't. Ross can. Ross can do anything. Wait till I get him on the show tomorrow. I'm just gonna sing his praises once again. Him and Todd. I shouldn't leave Todd out. Todd's ridiculous as well. The part that makes it even worse is, in my experience, typically when you meet, you get into a tabletop miniature game, the people that are really good at painting the minis are not usually the people that are good at the game. They're somewhere below the top tier people. Nope, not in Cav. Some of the best painters are also some of the hardest generals on the table. It's different.
I think it's just kind of the genre. I mean, I saw the same thing with BattleTech and Heavy Gear and stuff too. Some of your best
It calls to you. It really calls to you.
Some of your best painters were your.
All right. Highlighting done. Take a break. Eldritch purple, witchcraft purple, tendril pink. Yeah, it just didn't work out, right? I tried to like pick out some areas on them and paint those areas purple, and it just I didn't like it. So they're just yellow now.
I haven't got my industrial paint.
Industrial paint.
Yeah, my exterior wall paint that I use for my terrains. So I go through way too much paint to be using anything else. I keep the color codes so I can just walk back into the store and, hey, fix me another gallon of this. And it took me a couple of tries to learn not to use cheap house paint. In the long run, it just doesn't work.
I think we talked about this briefly last night. I feel the same way about tools. I would just rather buy the right tool and know that whatever problem I have is not the tool.
Yeah, I mean, for the difference of $10, you know, to go get better paint. Every time I've tried to use cheap paint, I ruining something or not getting what I want. No more. Luckily, we have a Sherwin-Williams here in town. Use them pretty much all the time, and I save coupons. They're kind of like the Hobby Lobby of paint stores, as they'll have a 40% off sale. It seems like every 2 weeks or something like that. I always make sure when I know I got paint coming up that get me some coupons. Coupons.
Hey, speaking of that, I don't know if this is true across all states, but our local Hobby Lobbies are discontinuing that 40% off coupon thing.
They are. No, it's national. They're supposedly going to. I mean, you got to take Hobby Lobby into what they did. Is they would buy something, they would triple the price, and then sell it to you at 40% off. So you thought you were getting a deal, but you're really paying what you would have got anywhere else because that's just the way they do it. So they're supposedly restructuring their pricing to take that into. So we will. So they're having I'm quite sure it's the same problem that Joann's has. Joann's is the very same thing. You go in and buy fabric or something from Joann's without a coupon, you're being ripped off. That's the way they do it. So you always want to make sure you have a coupon from Joann's, and that's what happens is everybody starts buying and saving with the coupon, and you lose an element there. And I think that they've realized that and are going to approach it a different. As my father was very fond, there is nothing in life for free, and if it's too good of a deal, sounds like it's too good of a deal. Where Hobby Lobby, where I always took advantage of Hobby Lobby, is when they would put something at 50% off that you could use the coupon on too. That's when you load it up. Something they were discontinuing and getting rid of. Yeah. Of course, I look at everything through the eye of terrain. I mean, I look at something and, well, what can I use that for? What can that be repurposed for? So I bought some really weird crap that nobody would ever thought I need to buy that I use for terrain. After it was done, they're like, oh, cool. Never would have thought that.
What a good idea.
I used to be horrible about going to all the garage sales and buying all their toys.
Mm-hmm.
So I still got boxes of parts I've cut off of toys.
A couple of years ago, Hobby Lobby, at least our local, decided to discontinue Dalarani inks. Oh my gosh. I could barely lift the basket I had those things loaded up. I think I have almost every color they ever made, even the weird pearlescent ones, because it was such a good deal.
Right. Yeah, no, when they're discontinuing something and getting out of it, that's when you're really good deals there. I just know, like I said, my experience with the way they do things, with like model kits and stuff like that. And I'll go in there and they'll have a model kit that's, $30 or $40 that, I've seen advertised by the manufacturer selling for $15. Woodland Scenics, they're bad about that too. Really jack up Scenics. Here's a funny story. Years ago, when I still lived in the Dallas area, and I was doing my Battle Hex terrain line that I used to do for BattleTech hex boards, and when I very first started out, I was working out of the garage, and I wasn't able to buy stuff wholesale and things like that, so I would go in and we had it was a Michaels store, and or MJ Designs at the time is what they used to go by. Speaking of talking about that earlier, but I would go in there and I used woodland green, their green grass, their green turf, and they always had 2 bags of it. Well, so I'd grab both 2 bags and take it home and use it, and wait till I'd come in, week later, 2 weeks later, there'd be 2 more bags. Well, so this is how I learned about how they order stuff. Is they've got some algorithm or whatever that predicts sales, inventory, whatever, based upon buying patterns. So after 3 or 4 times over 3 or 4 months of buying the 2 bags of turf that they have, each time I go in next time and there's 4 bags, and I'm like, cool, they're great. So then we go through a couple of more months. Keep buying 4 bags. I go in another time, there's 6 bags. And so this went on for like a year, and then I think by the time then I quit buying from them, and they were getting like a dozen in at a time or something like that. But at that point, I got a hold of a wholesaler and was buying a wholesale and by the case, so I didn't have to get it there anymore. But I always thought that was so funny. I was like, I bet they had a crap load of Woodland Scenics green turf hanging around.
Yep. I may run by Michael's this weekend before I flock these bases. It's been a long time since I've added anything to my flocking tub. I may go look and see if they have anything interesting. I hear they're having a big set of sales this week at Michael's anyway. My daughter works at Michael's and she's been complaining about it. It's like, oh my God, it's going to be terrible.
I've been very interested in, I watched several videos of people making flocking out of sawdust. And I have been wanting to experiment with that a little.
Yeah, Gimli, definitely. I don't know the exact dates, but I think it must start. It's certainly this weekend because I know she works this weekend and she's been bemoaning that all week. And so, yeah, I mean, big time, like huge, 70% off, a lot of stuff, kind of deal. In fact, she's at work now. I wouldn't be saying this. She'd run in here and kick me for telling everybody. John, do you know who sculpted the outlaw?
That was
You did a good job. I like it. Ilmer got himself a computer. Surely you saved a little bit of money for some paint. Come on, Ilmarin. You need 5 more shades of green.
I think that I was it last night that I was it last week that I a nice self-serving of everybody should use half their stimulus campaign.
I agree, John.
Yeah.
I want a broadsword. Sell me one.
Well, hopefully we're getting closer with.
My money's going to be gone before you give me a broadsword.
Yeah, you'll get your badger. I'll get you started.
But I got to have both, John. I got to collect them all. This is just like Pokemon.
Gotta have them all.
Yep. All right. I touched up the yellow, dry brush some steel, and then all I have left to do is bases. Woot. Yeah. Yeah, we had to replace my wife's video card a week or two ago. Started freaking out, and so we took it to the shop, and they said that the water cooler on her video card had leaked onto the video card and caused it to fritz out for whatever reason. I was like, all right. So she got a new video card. And then she asked me what she gets for her birthday. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it. The answer is going to be a freaking blue doll from Japan, but that's another whole story.
Yeah, my wife's birthday is the 26th, so you can imagine how that's going over
Ah, yeah, you're not going to be available. John, you can get in
I
trouble.
know. She's like, you remember that that's my birthday, right? When I told her the day, I said, yeah. So, no, I didn't. She might be listening. Busted.
Mine's not till May, but she likes to plan early.
Yeah. Well, my younger daughter's is the 31st, so I figure I'll do double duty then and make everybody.
You mean the virtual CAV-CON after party will be over by then, you think?
Well, that's maybe. If not, they can come to that. Ahead of myself. I've been wanting to get me a new game PC. I just don't have time to do anything on it, so it never is important enough to do.
I'll be honestly, I got a Switch here about a month or so ago, and I've actually been enjoying playing on it. I mean, a lot of times I'm actually just playing on the big screen, but I don't know, I like it.
Well, I've got an Xbox, and I every once in a while I get on that. That's one of the reasons I use it is because I can just get on it and go.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of setup or. I'm good with that.
I've been enjoying Diablo 3 of all things. It's an old game,
Yeah.
but it's just fun. Just mash buttons and run around and have fun.
Well, it's like me and Titanfall. I play both Titanfalls, and they're both.
I've never played Titanfall, but I caught wind of it because, of course, it's a mech thing, so it shows up in my Facebook feed. Somebody posted about maybe they're going to do Titanfall 3.
Yeah, they're talking about. Certainly hope that they do. I very much. I'm real big on the. Love the.
I'll have to check it out. Well, actually, I may just buy the old ones. I mean, if it's that good, I don't actually play a ton of video games, mostly because I'm busy painting yellow all the time.
Right.
But I've been trying to make time for them lately. It's just hard, and so I've missed a lot of those older video games.
Right. Well, it's a more. I love hard sci-fi, and it's a very much more hard sci-fi mech.
Cool. Hey, Ilmarin, good night. Thanks for hanging out. And you're right, Animal Crossing is the bomb. My wife loves that game. Oh my gosh, she's into that thing. That and Sims. Those are her addictions. And expensive Japanese dolls.
Oh yes. Where I'm gonna work on here, and then.
All right. Dry brushing accomplished. So down to bases. Pretty much nothing but bases at this point.
Well, your base belong to us.
Now I gotta clean these brushes. Got to clean the brushes before you put them away.
That's a good thing about terrain brushes. I don't have to.
They don't
I don't
care.
have to clean them real good. As long as they'll work next time, sorta, I'm good.
Yeah.
You tear the hell out of them anyway.
Tell you what, Winsor and Newton makes this brush cleaner. Hold on a second. What's it called? It's a liquid. It's just called Brush Cleaner and Restorer for dried alcoholic or acrylic, and oil colors.
Uh-huh.
This stuff will clean anything. A friend of mine gave me a brush that had literally used to apply super glue after it gave up the ghost as a dry brush.
Right.
And I managed to restore it with this stuff. It was amazing.
Wow.
Back to the point where you could still dry brush with it.
Yeah. I keep mine. I've got a knife set that I keep for good stuff that I take.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not into the. I'm not into that whole camp of that I need $60 brushes. Like, I think that's a little crazy to pay for a brush.
You know, it, I guess it depends on what you can do with it. If it works for you, more power
I
to you.
guess maybe it makes you feel better, like, gives you
You
confidence.
know, so
It's a $60 brush. All I got to do is just get it close, and it's good to go.
that's serious. It'll do the
It'll
work
do the
itself.
work itself.
I mean, not $60 brushes, but I was always of the opinion, you know, as we said earlier, buy good tools, right? So
Right.
I made a point of buying really good brushes, and then I started following Mr. James Wapple, who uses not good
Right.
brushes, just bulk crap. And oh my gosh, that guy is
Well,
ridiculous.
there is a difference between good brushes and bad brushes. I'm not trying to say that there's not, but there is a level of good brush that you can hit for a lot less
Good enough
than
brush.
$60 a brush, and get the same results.
Yeah, so Gimli confirmed it earlier. I missed it. He said the sale at Michael's is definitely 70%. So yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I'm gonna have to drop by,
he,
even though my daughter will commit to me.
I've got to go to Wichita this weekend.
Never know. I mean, if nothing else, if you don't already have it, when you go by, you should pick up a black and a white oil paint
Okay.
at the very least,
I
so
do
we can
not.
do those.
I do not have any oil paint. For a long time, I used to have a bunch of them when I used to build models with testers paints way back in the day, but they're enamels.
Can't remember if I mentioned it, but I walked into a little hobby shop out in Owasso, a city just north of Tulsa. One of those old timer grognardy model, you know,
Yep.
like jet things. That guy had the most amazing collection of Tamiya paints I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he had 40 feet of Tamiya
Yeah.
racks.
I love me some old time model shops.
Yeah, you would love this place. If you next time you end up down here, maybe if he's open, he's got oddball hours. We'll run out there
Okay.
and take a look.
Because everything is Lessa.
Unless I'm not sure that's true, to be honest with you, but swing for the fences. Why not?
I just must have been a car dealer.
Yeah. Turns out car dealers will say many things to
Yes,
try
yes,
and
they
get
will. Changes every other minute. All right. Well, we have reached the 9 o'clock hour. I've got more terrain done. Yay. So I'm not sure that you really learned anything tonight, but other than that Michael's is having a sale.
Hey, advertising for
But
Michaels.
we are getting close. Said 9 more days. We'll have a next week. Will be the shows will all kind of be devoted to the show and things that are going on, and start talking about the scheduling and all that good stuff, and hopefully more news on when we're releasing our swag bags. So hang in
I
there.
mean,
We're getting closer. That's a good thing with the virtual show, since you really don't have to go anywhere. Not like it won't all come together.
so John, I'm going to be traveling right. And I mean, I might get there just as the show starts.
Yep. Wednesday night.
So Yeah, you might be flying solo if I get delayed
That's
or
okay.
the
We'll be
traffic is
good.
bad or
We'll
anything.
be good. We'll make it work.
All right.
You know, I'll feel bad, but I'll make it work.
Well, I guess I could just call in. I mean, we could do another one of these and I can talk while I drive.
True. So, all right, folks. Well, thank you very much. And we will, tomorrow night's Big Stompy podcast. Almost did it.
Robot Cat. Yeah, I know you.
So anyway, so James and Ross will be on there for tomorrow night for that. Chris will be here Saturday working on infantry again, I think. And then good. All of shows next week will be devoted to the show, to CAV-CON. And then Friday morning, we're going to kick it off and rock and roll. So see you guys then. Take care. Have fun. Be safe. Later, Gator.
Good night, all.